I want to thank everyone again for joining us for this Saturday morning Bhagavad-gītā class. This program that we've introduced for everyone worldwide is based on the original unedited books of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And this is a critical issue that is common in many groups. The issue is the changing of the teachings by the successors, people that continue on after the departure of a religious or spiritual leader. They take over and decide to change things to suit their own particular purposes, whatever they might be. And this goes on in many, many religious groups. For example, the Christian religion has gone through so many different transitions based on the so-called living priests or leaders of that group. Even one of our bhaktas here in this area sent me a video of the Catholic Church. And in the Catholic Church 60 years ago, and I was raised, by the way, incidentally, as a Roman Catholic, so I'm quite familiar with their system. And they came into the church, a group of leaders, and changed the Mass, the way the Mass was being conducted, and changed the philosophy. And as a result, the Catholic Church has suffered a great decline in its membership globally because this change disease, Prabhupada called it change disease. It's like cancer. Once cancer enters the body, it becomes a very great threat to the health of the living entity. I know because I'm a cancer survivor. When I got cancer, was announced to me by my surgeon about 6 years ago. And I had to, it was hard for me to accept it, actually. Ram Raghava, I was in total denial. And when my surgeon told me, "Oh, you have cancer," I go, "No, I don't." He goes, "Yes, you do." I go, "No, I don't." I never accepted that I had cancer. Something like the people in ISKCON, very similar. They're in denial. They deny the fact that changing Prabhupada's books, changing the system of kirtan, changing the deity worship system, all these, Prabhupada called it the change disease. It's like cancer, and you can be in denial. Eventually, for myself, after my second operation, I had 5 operations to remove the cancer from my urinary bladder. So after about the second operation, I finally accepted that I had cancer. And then I had to deal with it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I took shelter of the holy name throughout the whole process, operation after operation. And by Krishna's grace, I'm free from cancer now. I go in once a year for a cystoscopy, which is an examination to see if it's there or not. But by Krishna's grace, for now, I'm cancer-free. So like that, Prabhupada uses the example of the surgeon. He says that you have to, in order to remove the disease, it's a violent act. It's a surgical act. You have to enter the body and remove the disease. So like that, this disease in ISKCON is very serious. And the change disease can destroy Prabhupada's legacy, which is what our goal here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association is all about. We are here to protect Prabhupada's legacy moving into the future. And the different programs that we're developing are for that purpose. The Prabhupada TV YouTube channel is one of them. The publication of books on the authorized versions, unedited, is another goal of ours. And constant preaching to new people that we have within our own networks to help them understand that Prabhupada is a Diksha Guru for us, and Siksha Guru as well. How Prabhupada is present is in his Vani incarnation. Incarnation means a form of God. It's a form, incarnation. In this case, in a form of God, of the Guru, Vani. It is not abstract. It's actual, tangibly there, especially for those that read the books. If you don't read the books, if you don't read the authorized books, unedited books, then it may be difficult. It will be very difficult to understand how Prabhupada is present in his sound vibration. So that is part of the training of the members or the participants, maybe not training, but the participants of our group, the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We read the books constantly. That's our diet, medicine for curing us of all disease. So this opportunity is something that we should all appreciate and relish. We're very fortunate. Recently in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, we're averaging right now, just on one post in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, I looked this morning, this week alone, we have 5,000 views on one post. And right now we're at a pace of 10,000 views a week. So that's better than 100 views. You know, it's a progressive development. If you stay steady on the process, never give up, don't stop, keep going. This isn't a visit to a vacation spot. When you go to a vacation spot, you just go there for a couple of weeks. You experience everything and you go, okay, then I'm going to go back to my regular life. This is not a vacation. This is a focused effort by the members of our association to protect Prabhupada's legacy. Protect it. That's the responsibility of all Prabhupada disciples. So please meditate on these, and we will continue to expand our efforts. Right now, I was looking at our growth just on the Facebook page, Prabhupada Disciples Association. Last September, I put up a post, oh, thank you for the 200 people that have joined us in this focused Facebook group, which is concentrating on Prabhupada as Diksha, Siksha Guru, using the unchanged books as your means of connection with the transcendental authority of Srila Prabhupada. And yesterday I was noticing we've reached 867 members now. 867. Not very many. Actually, it's, in one sense, for me, very disappointing. But at the same time, it's better than 200. So progressing. When we reach 10,000, when we reach 20,000, then we can become excited that we're reaching people and people are interested in getting the true message of what this disciplic succession is supposed to be. This other group that Prabhupada formed, the change group, they change everything. This is a disaster. So enough of that. Thank you very much again, all of you, for your participation in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, in our classes, and our YouTube channel, Prabhupada TV, and in the other programs that we're going to be expanding in the near future. We are looking for people who have an aptitude to help us in our media department. We have multiple programs we're trying to launch. We have limited help. So if you have any inclination towards this, please let us know. You can reach me by my email. I'm not sure, Vinkat, how we should make sure that people have contact information for us that want to reach out and join our different committees for spreading Krishna consciousness. So we'll work on that. We'll let everyone know. We might send you an email so you have our information. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu's and the other devotees that are key with us right at this moment. So step up if you can. I know everyone has difficulties in life and everyone's struggling, but if you can step up, it'll be a big help and we'll get this wave. It's called momentum. When you get something going, you need momentum. Momentum comes when people join in, when it becomes a potential, a great potential to expand and proliferate what we're doing through this potential called critical mass. We're pushing for that. We want to get 100,000 members of our association. That's one of our goals. So we'll ask Vinkat, please, or Ram Raghava to bring forward the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers, and then Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, unadulterated. Hare Krishna. No sound.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are reading from Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, original 1972 edition, non-adulterated edition. We are reading from chapter 7, text number 9. All synonyms, translation, purports, and commentaries by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. From the original text, we are reading on page 374. Punyo gandha pritivyam cha tejaschasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Punyaha, original. Gandha, fragrance. Pritivyam, in the earth. Cha, also. Tejaha, temperature. Cha, also. Asmi, I am. Vibhavasau, in the fire. Jivanam, life. Sarva, all. Bhuteshu, living entities. tapaha, penance, cha, also, asmi, I am, tapasvishu, in those who practice penance. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and am the penance of all ascetics. Purports by Prabhupada. Punya means that which is not decomposed. Punya is original. Everything in the material world has a certain flavor or fragrance, as the flavor and fragrance in a flower, or in the earth, in water, in fire, in air, etc. The uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor, which permeates everything, is Krishna. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste, and this taste can be changed by the mixture of chemicals. So everything original has some smell, some fragrance, and some taste. Vibhava means fire. Without fire, we cannot run factories, we cannot cook, etc. And that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicine, indigestion is due to a low temperature in the belly. So even for digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. The duration of man's life is also due to Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who has opened my eyes from the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshantarine Bhagavad-vandanam khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataham Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Shri Rup Sanatana Bhattara Gunata Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dāsa Raghunata. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I just want to make a note before any kind of comments. Somebody recently asked me, one of these Sanskrit verses that you're chanting, we can't seem to find anywhere. This is a verse. It says, Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataha. This was composed by a great Vaishnavacharya named Vedanta Deshika, also known as Venkatanatha. He came after Ramanujacharya. He was the author of that famous book, Mayavata Shatadushani, refutation of 108 points of the Mayavad or Advaita philosophy. And he wrote a commentary on a book that had been written by Yamuna-Ācārya, one of the gurus of Ramanuja-Acharya. There's a composition that was written called Stotra Ratna, very nice Vaishnava verses praising Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, written by Yamuna-Ācārya. So he writes in the beginning that worship of the Supreme Lord is naturally very sweet, just like milk is very sweet. But by adding a little bit of sugar, kshiram means milk, sharkaraya means sugar, yuktam, you mix a little bit of sugar in the milk, it becomes even sweeter. So by worshiping Guru Vandana Purvakam, by worshiping the authorized bona fide guru or acharya, before worshiping the Lord, the worship of the Lord becomes even sweeter. Now, one point is, when we read these books, sometimes people criticize us. They say, well, you people, you just think that you're just going to read the book and this is like Prabhupada is there. Well, we don't say that. Prabhupada says that. Just like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a place where it describes that Krishna himself is explaining how he is present in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the 18,000 verses, that is the direct presence of Lord Krishna. So in this way, Prabhupada has mentioned in several times that the Acharya is present in his writings, in his books, the Vani, the instruction of the Acharya. So this particular verse is very significant. And the reason is because sometimes people ask, well, I want to see God. Can you show me God? But the question comes, do you have the eyes to see God? Are you qualified to see God? Prabhupada in one lecture gives an example of somebody who says, I want to see the president. I want to see the prime minister. Well, the first question is, what is your business? Who are you? Who are you to come and demand an audience with the prime minister? Of course, Krishna can be seen. And in these various verses here, starting with the previous verse, where Krishna explained here that I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable om in the Vedic mantras, I am the sound in ether and ability in man. And here Krishna goes on, I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, I am an appendix of all ascetics. In 1976, we were in Mayapur, and in one morning walk on the roof of the building, Srila Prabhupada pointed out to a flower pot, and some roses were growing. He pointed out to Achyutananda Swami, he says, just see. Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gītā, this verse, Punyoganda Pritibhyamcha, that I am the original fragrance of the earth. Can the scientists create that fragrance? And somebody said, no, they cannot. Another time, we're in Hawaii on a morning walk with several senior disciples, and there was a little mosquito that came and troubled Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada very gently pushed the mosquito away, and he turned to Rameswar. He says, can the scientists create a mosquito? They can create the big 747 airplane, but can they create a little mosquito? Rama says, no, Prabhupada. So the power of Krishna is also perceived, can be seen through his creation. Can be seen through his creation. Just like some of you who are born in Australia, you know, they have a kind of bear, the koala bear. It's not found. I don't think it's native to other countries around the world. It's a very unique species. Very unique species. When you look at them, how they function, how they go into the tree, they're very slow. But that is Krishna's potency. That is Krishna's nature. They also have some trees over there, eucalyptus trees. Now, the eucalyptus trees, you can make oil from it that has special antiseptic properties. It has special powerful properties. So this is Krishna's energy also. We see in this verse that Prabhupada is explaining everything in the material world as a certain flavor or fragrance, as the flavor and fragrance in a flower or in the earth, in water, in fire, in air, etc. The uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor, which permeates everything, is Krishna. So Krishna can be seen through so many things. I was told a story by Ugrasrava Prabhu in Australia. He was, whenever Prabhupada came to Australia, Ugrasrava was the designated chauffeur. He would drive Prabhupada everywhere. So he had the opportunity to witness and hear many private conversations with Srila Prabhupada. So one time they were driving and they came across some kind of tavern or a bar where they were dispensing liquor, but this was early in the morning, like 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. Prabhupada asked, what are they doing? And the Guru said, oh, they are lining up to purchase liquor, to purchase wine, beer, these kind of things. Prabhupada says, oh, rasoham apsukanteya. They should think that the taste of that wine, that is also from Krishna, that everything is from Krishna. Of course, we don't encourage wine drinking, but Prabhupada saw everything connected to Krishna. That is the power of a pure devotee. One time, when a journalist asked Srila Prabhupada this question, can you see God? Prabhupada says, if you have the eyes, you can see. And Prabhupada says, I can give you those eyes. I can purify, I can clean up your eyes. Prabhupada gave the example, just like when a person has cataract. When there's cataract in the eyes, sometimes it is necessary to have an operation to restore the eyesight, to be able to better the eyesight. So the process of bettering or improving the spiritual eyesight is to follow the instruction of the Acharya. That is the potency of the Acharya, that he is able to open the eyes of a conditioned soul so that he can see properly God's position. At this point, I want to read a few explanations from Srila Prabhupada. This is from, it's called Collected Lectures on Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, which was published by the Bhaktivedanta Archives. It's numerous lectures that Prabhupada gave on all the different verses of Bhagavad-gītā. So on this day in New York, on October 2nd, 1966, October 2nd, 1966, Prabhupada commented on this verse on page 662. Punyoganda pritivyamcha tejaschasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Sri Prabhupada explains, he is describing more elaborately. How is that? Now, punyoganda pritivyamcha. Punyagandaha means flavor, the flavor. Any flavor, that is Krishna, that is God. You cannot create any flavor. Synthetically, we may create some scent, but that is not as good as natural scent. So that is, when you have a good flavor, you can remember, oh, here is God, here is Krishna. When there is some natural beauty, oh, you can understand, here is Krishna. When there is something uncommon, very powerful, wonderful, oh, you can understand, here is Krishna. And when there is life, jivanam, as long as a tree lives, as long as man lives, as long as animal lives, so you understand this life is part and parcel of Krishna. As soon as the part and parcel of Krishna, the spark is taken away from that body, oh, everything goes. No meaning. So nice brain we're acting. Sir Isaac Newton, Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose. But as soon as that small particle of Krishna's part and parcel is removed from this body, no more. Sir Isaac Newton working, finished. So Jivanam Sarva Bhutanam is the life, is the life. We can see in every step God. People say, can you show me God? Yes, God is seen in so many ways. You just try to see. If you close your eyes, that I shall not see God, and who can show you? But you can see God in every step. Jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Tapaschasmi, any kind of penance, any kind of perseverance, that is also God. Tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Bijamam sarva bhutanam vidhi parta sanatanam. And bijam means seed. The seed is sanatana. That is eternal. Sanatana means eternal. There is a gigantic tree. But what is the platform? That is the background of this gigantic tree seed. That small seed, that mustard-like grain seed, that is the background of this large tree. Bijamam sarva bhutanam vidhi parata sanatanam. And that seed is eternal. The seed within me, within you, everyone, the seed is there. And as soon as the seed takes place in the mother's womb, the seed begins to fructify little by little. Then it comes out. When it is properly developed with hands and legs and eyes, it comes out from the mother's womb. Then again develops, and again develops. He becomes a boy. He becomes a youth. He becomes so many things, changes everything. But that seed is permanent. That body, the body is changing, but the seed is there. Therefore, it is sanatana. It is very easy to understand how we change our body. We are changing our body every moment, imperceptibly. Imperceptibly, we are changing our body every moment, every second. So change of body is a fact. Therefore, that bijam, that small particle, spark of spirit, that is sanatana. This body is changing. So when it is changed to another body, that means transmigration of the soul from one body to another. This is a fact, and it is not very difficult to understand. We are changing our body every moment. Bijamam sarva bhutanam vidhi parta sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi. One who is very intelligent, that intelligence, extraordinary intelligence, must be considered. Oh, he is Krishna. Without being especially favored by Krishna, nobody can become extraordinarily intelligent. Anyone, everyone is trying that I shall be more intelligent than my friend, my others. But without Krishna's, I mean to say special favor, nobody can become extraordinary intelligent. Therefore, wherever you find extraordinary intelligence, you should consider, oh, there is Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Buddhir buddhibatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. One who is very influential. That influence is Krishna. That influence, that particular influence of a particular man, that is also Krishna. Balam balavatam chaham. And one is very strong, stout and strong. That particular strength is also Krishna. Just like an elephant is very strong. And more than elephant, the gorilla is still more strong. That strength, where from? Where from he gets the strength? Now, suppose I'm a human being. I cannot get such strength by my own endeavor, but I can get strength 10,000 times more than the elephant if Krishna favors. Therefore, strength, just like Bhima. Bhima had strength 10,000 times than an elephant. He was so strong. There's no question of not believing, because as I find that you are stronger than me, and he is stronger than you. Oh, similarly, there are many degrees of strength. Now, these degrees of strength is Krishna. So you can understand Krishna. Without Krishna's favor, nobody can be stronger than the others. So balam balavatasmi. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada explains so many different aspects of Krishna's potency. We see also in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains that I'm the light, I'm the splendor of the sun, the moon, so many opulences of Krishna. So if one is eager to understand where is God, what is God, the explanation is there. Bhagavad-gītā gives complete explanation. We saw in text number 7, Krishna explains Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. Krishna says, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strong on a thread. Everybody has heard the followers of Muhammad, Islam, they have this saying, Allahu Akbar. There's no the glory to God. There's no one higher than God, than what they call Allah. So this is the same principle in the Bhagavad-gītā. There's no higher truth than God. Everything depends on God. Everything depends upon Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. And here in the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains in detail. For example, in his purport, Prabhupada says, in Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. Just like we heard in this purport from Srila Prabhupada, that all of these various opulences, if somebody is very intelligent, if somebody is very strong, if somebody is very powerful, this is all due to Krishna. This is the mercy of Krishna, which is manifested in different ways. Srila Prabhupada one time was having a conversation with a gentleman from a different religious background. And this person says, well, I don't believe in reincarnation. Prabhupada said, whether you believe or not, how do you explain the varieties of life? Varieties of human beings, even in human society, people are born with different levels of intelligence. People are born with different situations, different economic situations. Some people are born in a rich man's family. Some people are born in a regular family. Some people are born in very poor family. Anywhere you go in the world, you will find there are always some poor people. Even in America, which is considered a prosperous country, there are still many poor people. Santa Monica, California is considered one of the wealthiest cities in America or in the world. But there's people sleeping under the pier. There's poor people. There's homeless people on the street. So you cannot stop the differences that are there. People are born with different levels of beauty. Why is everybody not born the same? With the same degree of intelligence, with the same degree of strength, with the same degree of beauty. Everywhere you go, you get these different situations. In 1993, I was in Central California, and one relative was taking some medical treatment, and this person spoke to one psychiatrist. And this psychiatrist explained that his young son was very young, maybe 6 months old or 4 months old, died suddenly without any apparent cause. The boy just died. And this psychiatrist was trying to figure out, why is it that this person died? He had not caused any harm to anybody. He had no enemies. He did not engage in any harmful activities towards anybody. And he died all of a sudden. How can you explain that? So he came to the conclusion that this is only due to some particular cause, some unknown cause from the past. In Sanskrit, it's called purva karma. Everybody has heard the word karma. The word purva means previous, because of a previous situation. The reason we have this body now and this current situation It's because activities in a past life. Because of sinful activities, because of pious activities, because of good activities, bad activities, people get a certain type of body. And in this life, one reaches the human form of life. This is a very special birth that we have the chance to finish this problem, this continuous cycle called samsara of birth and death, and this continuous repetition of this karma problem. The root cause of getting these different bodies is engaging in vikarma, or sinful activities, forbidden activities. Somebody may say, well, what is that? What are forbidden activities? Prabhupada explains meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex life. These are the activities, vikarmic activities, vikarma, that causes problem and causes one to take another body. So learning Bhagavad-gītā means to learn how to connect with Krishna, to surrender to Krishna, to offer respects to Krishna, and to develop the consciousness, just like one of our acharyas, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he wrote in one of his songs, Marobi Jacobi Joyit Chamor. Whether I'm in a distress or happiness, I want to remain your servant. Simply, I want to remain your servant. There are so many different songs by great acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya explaining the meaning of life, the position of Krishna, the position of God, and how to revive that connection. That is yoga. Yoga means to connect, to link. How to link the individual soul, the Jivatma, with the Paramatma, or the Supreme Soul. It is not very complicated. This has been made very easy in this age by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation of Krishna, who has come to deliver the Sankirtana movement. We see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Krishna Das Kaviraj explains, Kali Yuge Yuga Dharma Namer Prachar, Tatelagi Pitavarana Chaitanya Avatar. That in this Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is this Nam Samkirtan. The religion for the age is this chanting of the name of God. Namer Prachar, Tatelagi Pitavarana. For this reason, Pitavarana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in this golden form, Gora Anga, this yellowish golden form, to deliver this Sankirtan movement. And the foremost current representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, the foremost preacher of the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Anybody can connect with Srila Prabhupada in his teachings. I've often explained when Prabhupada was in Berkeley, California in 1975 in July, one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, what is going to happen to your movement when you die? Prabhupada's immediate reaction was, I shall never die. Well, Prabhupada was not speaking of his body. He knew his body would depart at some point. And then he went on, I shall never die. I shall live from my books and you will utilize. Now, if we intelligently comprehend this, this is basically a very simple English explanation of the principle of Vani and Vapu. The teaching versus the body. The body will last for some time. It was very fortunate that we got to meet Prabhupada, to talk with Prabhupada, to walk with Prabhupada, to basically have conversations with Srila Prabhupada. That's wonderful. But if you cannot have the recorded discussions of Vishwanath Chakravarti, you do not have the morning walk conversation of Jiva Goswami. But Srila Prabhupada is quite unique at this period in time that all of these precious recordings of conversations, purports, letters, that the general overall teaching, the Vani of Srila Prabhupada is available. It is available for any person to hear. We often quote this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam from the 7th canto, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, that the process of bhakti means to hear, Shravanam Kirtanam, and to preach, to recite, to explain. And this is the position of the Acharya. He is giving the essence of devotional service, loving devotional service, so that the disciple and the follower can hear and repeat and get the greatest benefit. So we can open the discussion. Any question, remarks, comments, admonishments, chastisements, everybody welcome. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was wanting to ask a question about Srila Prabhupada. When I lived inside of the temple in the ashram, they never served us dinner there. And I never, understood why. I just took it that, okay, we don't eat dinner at night. Did Srila Prabhupada make that a program? Or the reason I'm asking is because I'm finding out through research that when we don't eat dinner at night, that our body is able to restore and recuperate, regenerate, and less chance of cancer in the body. So I was just wondering, is this something Srila Prabhupada instituted?
Prabhupada made a few statements about that. I mean, the general practice for Vaishnavas and sadhus is to eat one complete meal per day. And what happened is during Prabhupada's manifested presence, devotee would have some breakfast. And then at noon or 1 o'clock, they would have a heavier meal with dal, chapatis, rice, vegetables, like that. At night, during Prabhupada's manifested presence, the devotees used to have popcorn and warm milk. Prabhupada himself at night, basically, he would have some milk, warm milk. And sometimes he would take some called muli, which is in Bengal, they cook this puffed rice. It's basically very light, but it will fill the body. But as far as taking a heavy meal at night, usually that's not recommended, because Prabhupada in one conversation says, if you do that, that means you will have tendency to oversleep, and you may have tendency to have bad dreams or like that. So generally, we don't take heavy meals at night. Generally, sadhus in India, the practice is to take one heavy meal during the midday. So that is the point. Now, Prabhupada's situation, because Prabhupada only basically slept 2 or 3 hours a day, that's a very exceptional situation. But, I mean, I don't know what the current practice is in various ashrams and temples in ISKCON, but usually that is the situation. That is why Prabhupada used to take a little bit of rest in the afternoon after eating his noon meal. In India, because it gets very warm, very hot during the day, people will have a heavy meal during the day. And even when we were in India, we would take a little bit of rest. Incidentally, there's an interesting story in Calcutta in 1971. Prabhupada had his room, and there was a bathroom adjoining, and devotees would go there, take their bath, shower, and then in the afternoon, they would take a meal around 1 o'clock, and then there would be a loft, like an attic, and devotees would go there and take a little bit of rest. So one time we were resting, and Prabhupada, he had a cane. Whenever Prabhupada walked and went upstairs, he took his cane with him. So I was resting, and I kept hearing this thump on the floor, and I was trying to figure out, what is that? I was like, I was just starting to rest. And all of a sudden, I opened my eyes, and Prabhupada was standing right there. I was like, oh, I was shocked, and I offered my obeisance to Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, no, you take rest. No, sit down. Prabhupada just walked around, You walked around, there was several brahmacharis resting, sleeping. And Prabhupada says, 1 hour, an hour, 20 minutes, no more. That is good. Then you wake up, everything will be okay. Another time in Calcutta, there was a lake in front of the temple. That was a lake that had been built up by the British when they controlled Calcutta. And basically the devotees used to go take a bath in the lake. And at some point, devotees didn't quite realize they would take a bath in the lake, they would take prasadam and then go bathe in the lake. So Prabhupada called devotees in his room and says, don't do that. You take the bath before eating, not after eating. If you take the bath after eating, it will interrupt your digestion. So basically, Prabhupada was trying to educate us, lectures and yavanas, how to properly eat and properly, take care of everything. Another thing too, in India, especially in some parts that get very warm, during the day, it is well known, but between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, many of the shops and businesses slow down. They close the shops and then they reopen at 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock and keep them going. And a lot of it has to do with the heavy weather. In America, it's different. It's cooler right here in America, especially at this time of the year. So these are some of the things to consider. But the popcorn and the warm milk was definitely something that Prabhupada did introduce. Hare Krishna. Other questions, remarks? We can keep reading the next verse. We have some time. Yes, Vishwakarma Prabhu, please go ahead. No sound.
Thank
Mike's off again.
No sound.
How's that? Is it working?
That's correct. It's okay now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the inspiring talk and your references to Prabhupada's comments on this particular verse in 66. It made me realize that Krishna consciousness is such a detailed explanation. There's such a detailed explanation in how great God is, as opposed to in my training in Christianity, in the Catholic religion, we only knew that God was the supreme judge sitting on a bench. So they would show the picture of God being this person without a face, simply passing judgment on people based on their sins. So instead of karma, they call it sins. Mortal sin, venial sin, and so like that. And people would, you would suffer the reactions to your sinful activities. And if you acted piously, you'd go to heaven and you go to hell. So here it's Prabhupada is really giving us so much information about the science of Krishna consciousness, extraordinary, the details, and very enlightening for all of us to be able to get this opportunity to, Prabhu, to hear you speak and to hear you represent Prabhupada's teachings to us with a purpose of trying to give us insight into the purpose of life here Prabhupada is mentioning the duration of man's life is also due to Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it by the grace of Krishna. So sometimes people think it's by my arrangement or by the doctor's arrangement that I can be saved from a particular disease. But it is by the grace of Krishna, by the circumstances in your life. And if you can connect the circumstances, connect the dots, you can see Krishna working in your life in different ways to prolong your life or to diminish it, as Prabhupada mentions. And so Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says here, is active in every sphere. So we should, we should all try to understand it's by the grace of Krishna that we've come together, and it is by the grace of Krishna that we have this opportunity to study Prabhupada's amazing teachings together. This is called Sadhu Sangha, the association of other devotees. And through that association, we get special understanding of Krishna consciousness, just like in the early days, in the 70s, this type of system was highly respected by the members that were part of the Sankirtan mission. And it is something that is certainly a blessing upon all of us. Yaśodā, please.
The point is that this series of purports by Srila Prabhupada and these verses by Lord Krishna are very important because it enables us to comprehend how Krishna is manifested through everything. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it says, Sarva Kalo Idam Brahma, that everything is Brahman. Just like in the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 7, text 19, Krishna is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That Krishna, Vasudeva, is the origin of everything and he is within everything. How he is within everything, this is what this 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā is explaining in detail. We can see Krishna is the taste of water, Krishna is the light and the fire. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna. So somebody who becomes Krishna conscious, when we become Krishna conscious, we can perceive the presence of God within everything. One time we were in Hawaii on a 74, and there's a place in Hawaii which is a big cliff. It's maybe several hundred feet above sea level, and there's a very beautiful vista, beautiful view, and it's very windy, very, very windy. So Prabhupada was there, and basically the chudder and the dhotis were almost flying off. And Prabhupada was smiling. He says, just see. He says, he quoted a place from the Bhagavad-gītā that Krishna is the wind, that this wind is a manifestation of Krishna. There's a demigod named Vayu, a devata, who is in charge of the wind. But Prabhupada, he saw everything is just manifestation of Krishna. It's like, it was quite amazing to be in Prabhupada's presence because this happened, so many disciples perceived this. Prabhupada would make these comments, how this is connected with Krishna, the wind is Krishna, the water is Krishna, the fragrance in the flower is Krishna, in so many ways. And when we read the Shastra, the scriptures, we see these detailed explanations. And that's why I like to read these explanations from Srila Prabhupada from this book. These collected lectures on Bhagavad-gītā, there's about 7 or 8 of them, but it's quite amazing to see the depth, the richness of the explanation, the varieties of explanation of Srila Prabhupada. He picks one verse and he explains it in the Bhagavad-gītā, and he gives a lecture, and there are so many meanings. This is the power of the empowered Acharya. He had that special power to convey and articulate the teachings so that deadhead like us, less intelligent Shudras like us, could understand Oh, wow, this is what Krishna consciousness mean. This is what God consciousness mean. That is why Prabhupada's teachings are so attractive. One doesn't have to be a PhD or a master's degree. No, it's simple. Simply one has to submit, submissive oral reception, and one can get the great benefit of all these transcendental gems that Prabhupada is giving. What do you think, Ram Raghava?
Hare Krishna. Yes, very nice points. Thank you for the wonderful class. I wanted to pick up on two things. One thing about what Vishwakarma Prabhu said about people thinking that they can make arrangements to save themselves. And some people think that the doctor can save them. I had the experience of working in one of the prestigious hospitals in New York City for 2 or 3 years in my training. And when somebody is about to die or they crash, we call that a code blue. And so there were some instances where we had a code blue, and all the brilliant doctors were around, and we did everything. They did everything that they could, expensive machinery, all this equipment, but still the patient would die. And Prabhupada mentions that in one of his books of how even the doctor can provide the right medicine and everything, but the patient still dies. So that shows how we are not in control of everything. And another thing I wanted to share was how amazing it is what you were mentioning, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, about how Krishna, Srila Prabhupada could see Krishna in everything. So he had this amazing thing of where he would take simple examples, very practical examples, the one that was given in this verse. So I would like to share something is from this same books that you're talking about, where Srila Prabhupada says, let's see, for growing the trees, and the devotee says manure, the same manure, same water, the same gardener, but according to different flowers, the fragrance is different. How this is done? Can any scientist answer? So Srila Prabhupada is taking the simple example and showing, and he, later I'm going to read in a minute, just how he also wanted us to interact with the intelligent class of people and actually use these practical examples to demonstrate the existence of God. So it says, can any scientist answer how it is coming differently and why there are differences? If it is nature and the ingredients are the same, why nature is not producing the same quality or the same kind of flower or trees or fruits? Why? Therefore, it is answered in the Bhagavad-gītā that nature is not all in all. Nature cannot work independently. Nature is the material world, material elements. So it is answered there in the Bhagavad-gītā, Mayadhakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. There is superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He likes that this kind of beach or the seed will produce this kind of flower and this kind of flavor. The superintendence is there of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We fools, we say, we cannot explain. We say nature. What is this nature? There must be some brain behind the nature. Otherwise, how a rose, so nicely it is coming. Even from artistic point of view, if you want to paint one flower, you have to take so much labor, so many colors, reflection, and so many instruments, then hardly you can paint one nice rose flower. Still, it is not as good, and not at all good in comparison to the original flower. So if this third-class flower, you have to apply so much brain, and this first-class flower has no brain behind it, is that very good logic? What is this logic? There must be brain, and that is stated here. Punyo gandha prithiviyang cha tejas chasmi vibhavaso aham. It is under my superintendence. And then he goes on, Srila Prabhupada had a scientist disciple named Swarup Damodar Prabhu, who, when I was there in the Vrindavan temple with you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, in 1977, he had organized that scientific conference. So he also mentions him in this verse. So the rascals will give all description, but they'll never be prepared to prepare it, to manufacture it. Recently, it is a practical. In California, one learned chemical scholar, he has got Nobel Prize. So he was describing that from matter, life has come. So there was one student, he's my disciple, Swarup Damodar. He questioned, "Sir, if I give you all these chemicals, can you produce life?" Then he said, "That I cannot say. But if you know that these chemicals composes life, so when I give you the chemicals, why don't you produce?" So simply theorizing. Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyaha. So amazing examples of how Srila Prabhupada used simple, practical examples in life to understand God, and how he also wanted us to understand these things and actually interact with the intelligent class of people to spread Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Vishwakarma Prabhu, please go ahead.
Thank you. When Prabhupada came from India to America, he was very unique in his teachings, because he was trying to elevate people off of the animal platform. In the we're raised as, Prabhupada would use the example, sophisticated cats and dogs. So the practice of the Westerner is more focused on the animal activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And therefore, because of this training that we have, we're not eligible to really understand the scientific aspects of God consciousness, the science of self-realization. So Prabhupada, his first business was to train us how to become humans. We're a species. There are 8,400,000 different species of life. So you look at the human species, what are we? Well, if you're nothing but a sophisticated cat or dog, how much can you know about the science of Krishna consciousness? So in order to rectify this state of illusion, how to rise up, no intoxications. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was mentioning about these people lined up early in the morning in Australia to buy booze. For what purpose? Why would you want booze early in the morning unless you're insane? You're like an insane person. You have no idea. There was an incident on New Year's Eve. There's a famous businessman in America. His name is Dana White. Now, Dana White is a multi-billionaire. He runs a sporting company called, the name evades me. It's an MMA, UFC. That's it. He runs the UFC, which is a big, as most of you know that are aware of sports, is a very big thing. So it came out recently that on New Year's Eve, he had an incident with his wife, who he's been married to for 30 years. It caught my attention. I thought, what could that be? I mean, this man has everything you could imagine. All the money in the world, all the fame, all the prestige. He's made it to the top of the ladder. And what happened was, he was filmed at some kind of event on New Year's Eve, and his wife slapped him in the face publicly. Boom. And what did he do? He slapped her back. Now that's a very significant thing in this society, for a man to beat a woman publicly. And Dana White slapped his wife publicly. Why did he do it? Because this is animal life based on intoxication. So Prabhupada was trying to teach us how to rise above the animal level, illicit sex life, cats and dogs. That's what human beings are. They're like completely out of control, especially when it comes to sex desire. And this type of consciousness will not allow a person to enter into the science of Krishna. No meat eating. Same way. People are eating all kinds of, I was just looking at a, Yaśodā Prabhu, I was looking at a slide or a photo one of our bhaktas here in this area sent me. For 3 chicken breasts, they're charging $24 to eat this meat now. So people are spending their time eating dead flesh. They're spending their time with intoxications. And now the worst thing is gambling. It's unbelievable how degraded the society is becoming in terms of gambling. Gambling is infiltrating into everything that is broadcast in the medias, in everything, on the internet, on the TV. It's gambling. They have all these major companies, that the sports companies especially, have all been infiltrated by the legalization of gambling. So now you can bet on particular circumstances that are evolving in a game. Like, for example, I don't gamble at all, but you can see what happens is they allow you to bet whether or not the person will hit the ball. So when the person comes up to the plate, they get 3 strikes to determine if they're going to be in or out. They'll allow you to place a bet at that moment on that person that's at the bat. Can you imagine? That's like surgical entry. That's like right into your thought process in every moment of your day. And people are becoming totally intoxicated with this. Gambling with a sense of, oh, if I gamble, I'll make money, I'll become rich. So illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating. These 4 regulated principles are being broken constantly by the conditioned souls. Is there any decline in meat eating these days? A little bit, but not much. So with this atmosphere, this Kali Yuga atmosphere, it is very difficult to meet or find really sincere people that want to hear the science of God realization. There's something terribly wrong with things in the modern Kali. That's what's really wrong with this Kali Yuga, the deterioration of the human being, so they have no aptitude to hear from a pure devotee like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Yaśodā, could you please comment?
Yeah, this is a very important point that you raise, because Prabhupada mentions in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto in connection with King Parikshit, and there was a Shudra that was beating a cow, that this meat eating, this slaughterhouse problem, this unnecessary slaughter of animals is a root cause of so many disturbances in human society. I mean, there's been analyses made of how much land it takes to feed animals for slaughter and how much more production can be obtained from the land growing grains, wheat, barley, so many different grains that can feed human beings. But because the problem is there's a tendency in every human being for this meat eating and illicit sex and gambling, drinking and everything. I've often described there's a place in the Manu Samhita, the original law book, where it's described that these sinful activities, this is the tendency of everybody. That is there, the tendency. But there's a much greater result, a much greater benefit that is obtained by restraining from these activities. Pravrittire vaishabhutanam nivrittir tu mahafalam. That these things, this eating, sleeping, mating, and defending propensities are there both with the animals and human beings. But human being is meant to control these activities, these vikarmic activities, these sinful activities, and especially this unnecessary killing of animals and the cow. The cow is a very beneficial animal. People don't understand that even the stool of this animal can be used in so many ways. In America, people will use different chemicals for mosquito repellent. Well, if you take a cow patty and you burn it, it will repel the mosquitoes. You can also do so many things with agriculture, which is called gobar, with the stool from the animal. People in America will laugh, oh, it just creates methane. No. There's ways to compost it so you can use it for agriculture. And why kill the cow? Prabhupada says the cow is one of the 7 different kinds of mothers. So after the mother raises you and gives you milk, you kill her when she's no longer useful? This is barbarian civilization. So this is a very important point, because when people eat meat, it destroys the intelligence. The finer points of the intelligence can be obtained by milk. Milk has all kinds of nutritious elements. It's a very important point. But in human society nowadays, this killing of cows, it generates very bad karma. There is karma, future bad karma from killing the animals. It's actually a good thing. This inflation has produced one good result. The price of meat and poultry has increased very high. Very good. So now people can start thinking, why should I spend so much money when you can get very simple food? If one eats simple beans and rice, it makes a complete protein and one doesn't have to pay such extravagant prices. And one can offer it simply to Krishna, but you can't offer meat to Krishna. And this is one of the problems we have in Kali Yuga, this destruction, this unnecessary killing of animals is causing so much problem. It creates problems with health. It destroys the environment. It creates so many social problems. So this is a very important point. Yes, Mataji, you raise your hand.
Yes, Bhakti Robert has asked a question in the chat. He asked, how does Krishna dispel fear?
Fear, well, Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gītā that if you surrender to me, sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam mama sarpa. Aham tvam, the end of the verse is masuchaha. Mokshayishyami masuchara. I will deliver you. If you surrender to me, abandon everything, surrender to me, I will deliver you. And the way this is done is taking shelter of Krishna by engaging in bhakti, in devotional activities meant to please Krishna. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad-gītā, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate, tesham nitya bhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. That for those who are devoted to me, who are surrendered to me, I protect what they have and I carry what they lack. I'm paraphrasing here. So as Krishna protects his devotees, God protects those who surrender to him. There are so many similar references in the Christian religion, in the Bible, and even in the Muslim religion. Just like one time somebody sent me a video of different Mohammedan mullahs. They were discussing, if you surrender to Allah, to God, what we say Krishna, then God will protect you. God will save you. So, but the thing is, that faith, that connection, we say in Kali Yuga, that connection can be achieved very simply by chanting God's name. That's why this Mahamantra is there. That Mahamantra is very powerful to get that connection with Krishna, that link with Krishna. Very important. Yes, Vishwakarma Prabhu. Hare Krishna. 8:31.
We're just coming to the end of the class, so I did want to respond to Robert as well. What is fear? What is the cause of fear? That's the first question. Now, Prabhupada explains that fear is caused by not knowing what will happen to you in the future. That's what fear is. In other words, you're out on the street, you're fearing that someone may come up, hypothetically, and possibly stab you. That you're walking across the street and a car may run you over. So you're fearing that this will come. You're fearing that you'll wake up today. You don't know what's going to happen. You're going to wake up today, go to the doctor, and he's going to tell you, you've got cancer. You go, oh my God, I've got cancer. So fear is caused by not knowing what will happen to you in the future. How do you remove fear, Robert? You remove fear by becoming Krishna conscious. Sat, Chit, Ananda. We're eternal. We're full of knowledge and we're full of bliss on the spiritual platform. But on the material platform, all there is misery. That's all that's here in this material world. It's called Mricha Loka. Very, very simple. Mricha Loka means the planet of death. Is everyone happy to die? No, people live in fear of death. But a devotee can overcome that fear of death by becoming Krishna conscious. And you do that by becoming trained up in the process of devotional service through the guidance of the pure devotee. And we will, as we move along in our discussions in the coming weeks, further illuminate these points so that we can all become strong in our Krishna consciousness. When you have strength, it's like, for example, a person who is trained in martial arts. He's not afraid like a person that isn't, because he thinks, oh, well, I'm trained, I've got strength, I can defend myself no matter what happens if someone attacks me. Of course, you can't defend yourself against a bullet, but at the same time, you're in a position of strength. So spiritual strength comes by the chanting of the rounds every day, 16 rounds a day without fail. That will build your spiritual understanding by the mercy of the holy name. We'll take one last question from Vinyak Sharma. Vinyak, please present your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for allowing me to speak. So in one of our previous meetings, so I was hearing about this thing about a prohibition or a restriction to have a dip in Radha Kunda. So unknowingly, like from past 10 years or something, like I have taken bathing in Radha Kunda for many, many times. I thought that Prabhupada allowed it and there was no problem in doing this. So now realizing that it was not appropriate for me to do that. So what should be done for the atonement of this offense that I made? So that I wish to have an advice from devotees.
Okay, I could say this, that I did swim across Radhakunda. I think I mentioned that to you by mistake. And Prabhupada forgave us when we came back from our visit to Radhakunda in the 70s. We were jumping in Radhakunda. We were doing cannonballs and diving. So this is, maybe Yasoda can clarify it, but as far as bathing at Radhakunda, the idea would be to go by the side of the pond or yes, and then put the water on your body like that. So I don't believe that Prabhupada never said that you shouldn't, I don't have any record of that you shouldn't bathe in a polite manner like the people do in the Indian culture by the Kunda. So Yasoda Prabhu, one last comment there for us.
I think what it is that many devotees went to Radhakunda and acted in frivolous or basically disrespectful ways. That's why Prabhupada made comments that they should not go and swim, or just best thing to do is to pay obeisances, take some water from the kunda, put it on the head, or take a very quick bath and come out. That is the standard. But I think many of our devotees, in their enthusiasm, as described by Vishwakarma Prabhu, they would go and swim and play in frivolous ways, and Prabhupada did not like that. He considered that to be disrespectful. As far as atonement, there's no real atonement. What you can do is chant Hare Krishna and just basically pray to Krishna. That's the real atonement. Because when we chant Hare Krishna, we're praying to Radharani. Hare. This is Radharani. We're praying to Radharani to engage us in service of Krishna. It's the same basically with many of the kundas near the temples in South India. And one is supposed to approach this in a respectful way because these are considered sacred waters. But Radhakund is the most sacred water. So that's how basically that can be said. It's just like when you take a bath in the morning, we're supposed to take a bath by calling the waters of the 7 rivers, Gange cha, Yamune cheva, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalismin, Sannidim Kuru. You take a bath, you invoke the waters of the 7 rivers, and basically you get the transcendental benefit. Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Sindhu, Kaveri, like that. It's a transcendental process. So you can do like that in the morning and chant Hare Krishna, and that should take care of the problem.
I understood that, Prabhu. Like I have been taking respectful bathings till now. So one question is that, like, somewhere I read, maybe it is true or not. I don't know whether. Like Prabhupada said that if you are purified on the level of Raghunath Das Goswami, then only you are qualified to enter into Radha. So is that something that is advised for devotees, that unless we are on that level, we should not enter?
Prabhu, please, like we just explained to you the position. Somehow or other, you've got this quote, Prabhupada said. This is also a disease. Everybody uses these quotes. If you can verify the quote for us in a future meeting, we'll be happy to rediscuss this issue. But we both told you the same thing. We never heard that. When I was in India with Prabhupada, and we did go to Radhakunda, Prabhupada said, the bathing that you did was like the mother having the children on her lap and making her sari dirty. So it's like there's no offense, because the Kunda is Radharani, Srimati Radharani, and she is our mother. So we're not, if your intent is to be frivolous, if your intent is to ridicule or make some kind of offense against the Vaishnava tradition, that's a very serious thing. But if there is no intent and you're simply out of reverence and devotion, taking the mercy of Krishna in his holy name, or bathing in the Ghat or the Kunda of in these holy lands, Radhakunda, then this is not something you should worry about. Just carry on chanting for now, and find the reference in the future for us. We'll look it up and we'll try to illuminate for you. We're going to end the class because we're a little bit over, but thank you everyone for your discussion. And we will move next week into a discussion about, because Yasoda brought it up, very interesting point, how the cow is our mother. And being a mother, she gives us nourishment. Now, in the movement that Prabhupada established, they've entered into a phase called veganism, and where they're saying no dairy. So we will, in a future classes, discuss about how we are devotees of Krishna, and we're vegetarian, we're prasaditarians. We take the food offered to Krishna, and how we are not vegan, we're vegetarians. So that's for a future time for us to discuss that topic. Well, could you please play the kirtan for us? Haribol.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Vanchakalpa
Vanchakalpa
tarubhyascha
Tarubhascha
kripa
Kripa
sindubhya
Sindhu
evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,